Welcome back to My Conscious Dad right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Before we went on the break, well, first, today we're talking about... How about we
talk about the break of you guys making fun of me for...
Hey, let me do my intro. Today we're talking about how to get your power back from rude people. And before we went on the break, we were talking about creating a backstory, I guess, for people so that we could have a little bit more sympathy and more compassion towards what they're going through, and then not taking it personal, because I know that after I have an encounter with someone who's being rude, especially at work, because I don't get that satisfaction of going off on them back or defending myself or defending us or whatever that looks like, because I don't get that afterwards, I just feel really beaten down. I feel really like I lost, or I don't know, I just have that feeling. And I know there really isn't supposed to be a win or lose, but when someone's coming at me so much and I can't do anything about it because I'm trying to be respectful or whatever, I always come back feeling, or I go back sitting at my desk like feeling bummed out the rest of the day.
I think one of the biggest life lessons I ever learned in my transformational journey is to not make everything about me. It's not always about me. Get off of me and taking things personal and why'd you do that? Why didn't you say that? It's not about me. And if I can stop making things about me, it just might open up my eyes to look at other people and be compassionate towards what they might be going through. I'll never forget this one time, I was at the 7-Eleven. It was right after my father passed away. Probably within 24 hours, and I stopped at the 7-Eleven, and the guy at the front counter, I kind of known him for years, in and out. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Talking, and I just, obviously on my face, it was showing that I wasn't in a great mood, and he goes, "Hey, put a smile on your face. It's a great day today." And I looked at him, and I don't know why I said this. It could have appeared rude, or even my facial expression could have appeared rude, but I said, "My father just passed away yesterday." And he goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And what happened was, in that moment, I realized how many other times that I expect other people to show up in a certain way, and I don't know what they're going through. And so we expect everyone to greet us with kindness, and we expect everybody to be cordial and to be optimistic. And when they're not, when they're the opposite, when they're rude or they're obnoxious, we go into psychological resistance. We don't want them to be like that. We don't like it. So then we start going around and spinning in our little, record player and start complaining about how they're showing up, instead of stopping and going, wait, I don't know what he or she might be going through. I don't know if they're suffering silently. I don't know if they're lost or broken or hurt, or they got a lot of pain, or they're dealing with a lot of pressure, or they got stress. And if you can shift that conversation in your mind, create a different story, and try to put yourself in their shoes. You've heard that axiom before. Try to put yourself in other people's shoes. And if you do that, you just might open a whole new level of compassion for people, and feel sorry for them. Now, you're going to show up differently if I feel sorry for you after you made 3 or 4 rude comments to me, right? I'm gonna legitimately create a new story that, wow, if you're that rude, you must be having a bad day, right? If you think about it, people that are like driving, right, and they're cutting you off, they're honking the horn, they're flipping you off. Immediately you can get into reaction, take it personal, and then go chasing them down the street and tell them, "Hey buddy, pull over." Or you can just stop and go, "Wow, that guy must be having a bad day," or "Wow, I wonder what happened so bad in his day that he's so riled up like that." What would it look like if we started living our life from being more compassionate about how people are and what they're going through, instead of being in reaction to the symptom of them in their reactiveness and in their mishaps?
Going a little bit back to what you said about, we kind of expect people to be polite and be cordial, and I definitely expect that, especially when I walk into a place of service or something, but I expect that because that's how I am. So those are my expectations. Now, for the people who are not like that, the people who do appear rude and the people who maybe do have some dysfunctions or are having a bad day, it seems like they expect that even though they can't be that. Where, I guess I want to say, where's the the distinction or the difference between us expecting things and not being able to reciprocate them or also do those things. I can't expect you to love me if I don't love you.
It's a great question, and it opens up a whole new topic about expectations. What do you know about expectations? Every time you have an expectation, what does it lead you to?
Disappointment.
Right? I think it's an error in our thinking when we live our life with expectations. Like if I say I love you, I expect you to say what?
I love you too.
Yeah, right? So we have these expectations, and when we have expectations and they're not met, we get disappointed. We go into reaction. We get defensive. We go into psychological resistance to you not saying it back to me or giving it back or reciprocating it. That's one of the fundamental errors, I think, as human beings, is that we live our life with major expectations, and when they're not met, we're walking around all depressed and sad because I really had my heart set on you doing this, or you never opened the door for me. Well, if you're disappointed because the door's never open for you, there's probably a good possibility that you have high expectations of your door being open for you all the time, or other people being courteous. If you have an expectation of people treating you with courtesy all the time and being happy and jolly, the world isn't like that. It's not set up like that. The way the world is set up is that God gave us all the gift of free will. We can choose to show up and be however we want, whenever we want. And you have to remember that. And so, how arrogant of me to think that you're supposed to be kind and cordial all the time. Now, in a workplace or an environment that's mine and I've invited you in and you're not showing up like that, then I have the right to sit down with you and maybe talk about it or bring it up to you or challenge you or ask you or invite you to show up differently in alignment with what our vision is. But I'm talking about just walking around in the world. The world belongs to everybody. So if you give your keys to the valet guy and he rolls his eyes and mutters something, and he has the right to do that, because God gave him free will. Who are you to say that he's supposed to treat you with respect? Now, what most people are going to say is, well, he's supposed to treat me with respect because the company hired him to be in service and to be cordial and to be nice, right? Is that the first thing you think of? Yeah. But he's not. And so just because he got hired with a reputable company, that he's supposed to be doing that doesn't mean that he will or that he can or that he has to. But we live in these illusions and we have these expectations that you're supposed to be like that. And that's how we set ourselves up to be disappointed and hurt and all those kinds of things.
Yeah, I think when people are rude, and I'm sure everybody kind of feels like this, again, because we're taking it personal. I think there's that part of you that kind of
part of me or part of you?
Okay, part of me. There's that part of me that says, hey, what did you do in that situation? So if somebody is honking their horn at me and flipping me off as they're driving by, I'm automatically for a split second thinking, oh, well, what did I do? Did I cut them off? Did I brake too hard? Whatever.
So is that taking it personal?
Yes. Okay. So I have that for a quick second, and then I go into, nah, I didn't do any of that. It's his fault. I can't believe you're, honking at me, and now I'm going to honk at you, and now I'm going to cut you off. And I go through all those things, and it's probably because I don't want anybody to make me feel bad about myself. So when they do, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do it to you now. So now I'm going to cut you off and make you feel bad, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Or maybe.
But where does it stop? Where does that stop, that ping pong where you did to me and I'm going to do it to you and then you're going to do it to me? You know where it stops? It stops at jail or in the morgue. Get two macho guys walking together in a parking lot and one just looks at one the wrong way. They misinterpret it. Before you know it, there's a full fight. 2 people are arrested or 1 or 2 people are dead. All because we're in psychological resistance to somebody looking at you in a mean way or in a way that doesn't appear to be in a friendly gesture. It always baffles me that 2 macho guys can, what are you looking at?
Looking.
The guy can look wherever he wants. Why does he have to be looking? You know what I'm saying? So it's like there you go into resistance to them, and then that triggers them, and then now they're in resistance. Now you have 2 reactive people escalating to an event or a result that's not favorable to anyone. No one wins in that. So it has to take one of us. One of you has to be evolved enough, conscious enough, highly aware and compassionate and loving enough to just look and go, I guess he's having a hard day today, and then turn around and walk away. I remember my dad telling me when I was a kid, he's like, when kids are egging you on or they want to start a fight, just walk away. And I couldn't understand that concept from a young mind, from an unconscious, ego-driven mind. I couldn't understand that concept. But since I've been working on myself and evolving and growing, I can start to wrap my mind around it. I haven't mastered it, but I can see it now. It's starting to become more clear to me. I can understand now when someone's having a bad day. In that moment, when I'm present, I can go, okay, well, all right, I hope you have a better day, sir. And I could totally just get on to wherever my direction was, where I'm supposed to be at, and not escalate it, not be a part of the problem and escalate it to now it being a result that I don't want or I never asked for. I don't want to get hooked into something I don't want to start a fight that wasn't mine. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why I can allow other people that are angry or frustrated or rude or mad at me, I can let that be their problem and not take it personal. In fact, I have a couple of people recently that either think that I wronged them or I wasn't, and they're upset at me, but they're the only ones that are dysfunctional and upset and angry at their own home. And as many times as I have made attempts to try to clean it up, or I'm open to cleaning it up, or to make amends or take ownership or responsibility for any part of it, I can't, because they get to be right about how they see it, and they're the only ones swimming around in that misery and that pain.
And for I guess for me, I know that we talk about sometimes the 7 habits. So, and I believe number 1 is being proactive instead of reactive. How in these situations, I know we cannot be reactive. I know we can be neutral and kind of walk away from the situations, but how do we be proactive about it instead of just being neutral?
In which event? Which scenario?
Someone being rude, someone wanting to start a fight, whatever it looks like. There's the neutral, hey, sorry, I hope you have a better day, and you walk away. And that to me is neutral. Is there a proactive stance? Well,
proactive is, when I think of proactive, I think of being in service and supporting them, or trying to make it better, or trying to fix it. Or so if someone's being rude, you would have to have the courage to go, hey, is there something that I said that hurt you or offended you? And if I did, I'm sorry. Or hey, how can I fix this? If I brought you the wrong biscuit and gravy and I didn't put the cheese on it, can I get you a new one? It's proactive is about you figuring out how to find a solution to make amends or clean it up or to give them what they want so people are happy and satisfied. That's what proactive means to me. It's having the leadership ability to use your words to articulate a solution to whatever it is that they're angry about, because rudeness comes out of what kind of energy?
Negative.
Yeah, but angry. If I'm angry, I could be rude. If I'm disgruntled, I can be rude. If I'm annoyed or stressed, I can be rude. Being rude is a byproduct of some other kind of feeling, some kind of negative feeling. It's more like a symptom. And a lot of times we jump on the symptom. So if you're being rude to me, I jump all over the rudeness, and I want to I want to recreate the rudeness. I want to resist the rudeness. But the rudeness is just a symptom. What's the root cause? The root cause is you're probably hurt from something I said, or you're annoyed at something I did. So I want to come to you and go, hey, Jazz, I noticed that you made a couple of comments that seemed to be a little negative towards me. Did I hurt your feelings, or did I say something? So I want to go to you and clean it up right at the root cause. I don't want to go and behind your back, tell your mom, oh, Jazmine's being rude, or hey, your sister's being rude. You know what I'm saying? Because all that's doing is attacking the symptom or the byproduct of something that's deeper. I want to get right to the deep. I want to get to the root cause of what's happening, and let's clean that up.
Yeah, I know that in our family, we kind of joke, and we irritate that person so much, so they're just like, and you're laughing because you do it. So if I'm being rude, you'll kind of jokingly be like, to my mom or my sister and be like, God, what's her deal or something, and I'm right there in the room and I'm like, oh, leave me alone, and everyone's all laughing. So I know that for us, we have
we'll play instead of just saying, hey, dude, you're being rude, we'll go, oh, someone's being rude around here. Yeah.
So and I'm in the room and I know that someone is me. So for us, we kind of mess around and we play around, and then I get over it or whoever gets over it. But in real life or out in the real world when you're dealing with strangers, it's not really that easy, I guess. So how do we go about doing different, I guess, tactics? Or because we know that in our family that works. We know that I'm not going to be upset about that forever, and it's funny, and I'll probably laugh at it too.
I think what we're learning in our own home is to not take things so serious. You know, it's like if you're having a bad day and you come in and you're throwing the keys or you're whatever, you know, I get to just go, all right, she's having a bad day. I still love her, and later on she's going to be laughing and fun. It's like, give people their space. Give them some time to get off of whatever they're on, or give them the time or the space to make sense of what's happening. You know, it's like, why am I going to, you know, because you walked in and looked at me and then kind of rolled your eyes and went to your room, why am I going to jump all over that and be in resistance to that and come into your room and go, why are you doing that? What did I do to you? Like, I don't have to be so needy. I can just, okay, and then you walk in and I go on with my day and trust, right? So here's where trust comes in. I would trust that later on you're competent enough and powerful enough to figure out what you need to figure out, get off it, surrender it in your room while you're doing what you do in there, and then when you come out for dinner time, you're off it. And if not, and you're still on it, then I'm going to come from a compassionate place and see if I can walk you through it or help you make sense of it, or try to be in service to you to help you unhook yourself from it. But all the while, the whole time, really consciously and mindfully being aware of not taking it personal and not making it about me. That's what frees me up to be able to help you. And as a life coach, that's one of the things that I've really been working on and I've had to master, is not taking things personal. Well, imagine what it would be like if I'm in a one-on-one and there's certain things, I'm really touchy and sensitive and taking things personal. I'm not going to have very many clients because I won't be effective to be able to help somebody. So what helps me help people is to not take stuff personal, to allow people to have their frustrations and their dysfunctions and they're angry, and I just put a smile on my face and I'm excited about their growth, about where I can help them get to. I'm not looking at it like, well, why did you say that? And I'm not trying to be in resistance to what they're being. I'm just giving them that space to be it, to run its course. Well, one of the greatest learning lessons I learned, and it actually came from a book. It was a transformational book, and it was about two transformational trainers that did personal growth and development and trainings for 30, 40 years, and they're either trainers themselves. And it was a book that they wrote about the transformation that they had outside of that, like 5 or 10 years after all that stuff, when they kind of retired in another country, and they realized the peace came from them not resisting things. And there was a story where the wife and the husband were on a motorcycle, and the wife was in the back and she burned her leg on the tailpipe, and he pulled over and she laid on the curb and she was stinging in excruciating pain. And one of the things that they learned and mastered was not resisting things, not resisting pain or not resisting anger. So they sat there, he held her in a loving cradle, and he just kind of rocked her and asked her to focus on her breathing. And what she did was she practiced not being in resistance to the excruciating level 10 pain that she had on her calf. And as she was breathing and she resisted the feeling the pain, it went from 10 to 8 to 6 to 3 to 2 to where it was comfortable enough for her to get back on the bike and go home. That took her about 8 minutes. She said, what she said in the book was, what it taught me is if I allow things as they're coming up in my life, if I allow them to run their course, there's a natural progression for things to run their course and then they die out. But they won't die out if I get in the way and start to be in resisting it, not liking it, talking about it, making you, feel resentful or feeling, making you bad and wrong because you're doing it. I actually prolong the suffering. Does that make sense to you? What do you hear when I say that?
I kind of hear that generic saying of whatever we focus on and put energy into, we give life.
We create more of it. Like, right, what we resist persists. Mm-hmm. And so when we allow people to be angry or rude, it runs its course. Give them some time, be patient. The next hour or 3 hours, they come back and go, hey, how you doing? You in a better mood today? Yeah, I'm feeling a little better. Hey, I'm sorry. But instead of creating that safe space and allowing people to be rude and be annoying and being stressed out, we get in the way of that, and we make it actually a bigger mess. We make it more dysfunction and more of chaos.
We have to take a quick break, but you don't want to miss the rest of this, so stay tuned for more of My Conscious Dad right here in your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Welcome back to My Conscious Dad right here in your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Today we are talking about how to get your power back from rude people. Earlier, Carmen on Facebook had asked us a question that I'm going to go ahead and read, and you're going to answer. Carmen said, how can I stop taking everything too personal, which we answered, and allowing people to control me? So we kind of wanted to touch up on the controlling part and how to handle that.
Yeah, when it comes to controlling, when you think of the possibility that people are controlling you, it kind of leads me to believe that in your mindset that you don't have any power, that you have maybe possibly put yourself in a predicament that you need that person, you need those people in your life. And that if you stood up for yourself and said no, or if you decided to make some of your own choices that wasn't in favor of being controlled, that you would have to pay a consequence, or you pay a price, right? Because when you think about being in a relationship or in a family where people are controlling you, it's because they're only controlling you because they have something that you need or you want. Is that not correct?
Right.
And as long as that person has something that you need and you want, then there's now the possibility that they can leverage that to control you. So you have to look at whoever it is that you think that's controlling you and ask yourself, what do they have over me that I need or I want that they're leveraging that control? And then really look at trying to figure out how to shift those circumstances so that they don't have that kind of power over you. That's really what it boils down to. And I don't know, the question was kind of vague, so I don't know exactly distinctively what she's talking about in a certain scenario. I wish I had her on the phone. I can ask her a few more details. But when it comes to controlling, that's usually what's at the root cause is somebody has something over you and they know you need it. Sometimes money is a controlling issue. If you need money, you need your livelihood, you need someone to take care of you, you could be in a relationship that you're being controlled or manipulated. There's other things that we use to control people. It's something but it's usually something that we need and we want. It's something like in our survival that sets us up to be in that kind of relationship.
Yeah, I feel like needing money or needing something, like a physical thing from someone is a little bit more easier to identify than really looking at yourself and saying, wow, I really need this person to like me, or I really need this person to love me. I really need whatever emotional thing you need from them. It's a little bit more challenging to accept and tell on yourself and say, hey, I don't really need this, but this is what I've been doing all these years and all this time.
Yeah, we can even be in a family relationship where, let's say the wife has kids with the husband is really controlling. Let's take the money out of it. Let's say she makes great money and she could survive on her own and she wouldn't have a problem, getting out of that relationship, so she has some freedom and her own personal power. But it would devastate her to break up the family, and in her mind all the fear of having the husband not be there for the kids as a father in the home to raise them. So we can use that fear too of what kind of damage or what kind of price we would have to pay in return just for my freedom. So I can see us allowing ourselves to be controlled by someone that's manipulative, that has figured that out and uses that as leverage. It could be as simple as not wanting to destroy a home or break up a family, or I have a certain vision of my family looking like this, and I'd much rather subdue myself to your control just so that we have what looks like a family. But I always ask the person, but are you a healthy, happy, powerful family? And a lot of the times the answer is no. So then I ask myself, so then why are you going through that? Why are you going through all the control and all that, and not being fulfilled and having your own depression and your own sadness, just to have a family, to have what looks like a happy family? You have the appearance that you're happy, but deep down inside, none of you are.
Yeah, I think it looks like that, but I also think a lot of people or a lot of women in this scenario, this specific woman, it's not just about what it looks like. It's more about that there's hope, you know, because once you leave and once you take the kids with you and you guys, you know, have your own freedom now, there's no more hope like, oh, you know, dad's gonna get better and dad's gonna love it. That's almost out the window.
But dad could get better.
He could.
Some people, when let's say you're a controlling dominant male and you're dominating the wife and controlling, and she finally gets her own courage and goes, I know my worth and I'm not gonna be treated like, and she finally goes on her own, and you know, he could have the biggest, powerful, life-altering breakthrough in his life, realizing how much he cares for them, how much they matter to him, and what's meaningful and purposeful in his life, was his family. And sometimes by losing that, you have this powerful awakening. But that wouldn't be caused or created had she not decided to fight for her own freedom, for him to have that kind of a breakthrough. Sometimes we allow that fear to we stay stuck in that kind of a relationship.
Yeah, and just kind of to wrap it all up and bring it back to, you know, our topic of rude people, I think sometimes we let people be rude to us out of fear. And I think I never really now considered that instead of letting it tag you and being on it, maybe we're afraid that if we step out of the way and we're not in it, then we're not going to be a part of that person anymore. We're not going to be close to that person anymore.
Yeah, that's a great point, that we can actually outgrow somebody and realize that they're really unhealthy for me, and yeah, that could be. And we care about those people, and then we got to remove them from our life.
Hey, thanks for joining us today on My Conscious Dad. We're here every Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. right here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.